Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Stuart Marshall. I am one of the producers for Pillmarsh Group. Uh, Today we're going to be looking at a film called The Keeper of the Lighthouse, which was made for the 4 Points film project as well for 2024. Now this one I actually don't remember. So I'm not like I did watch like majority of the films. I would say I watched 88, why so specific, like 80% of the films, right? There are definitely films that I skipped over, only because it most likely it just probably wasn't my thing. Um, it just wasn't my type of film and so on, and you'll hear me say this a lot. Uh, for me, a film needs to capture my attention, especially a short film. It needs to capture my attention in the first 30 seconds to a minute. So probably the reason why I don't remember the film, The Keeper of the Lighthouse, and not only that too, uh, for North America, a certain time zone, there was like 50 odd teams, and they all got the same, like the same, your lighthouse keeper and all that, and like they had the same line dialogue. So it became very tedious to watch through because there's so many of them, so many of them. Um, So I think I had a little bit of what do you call it? I was a little bit burnt out from the whole lighthouse keeper thing. But it's a good thing though. I get to watch this film from fresh eyes. Instead of watching one after another and after another, for hours and hours on end. I get to watch this one separately, and we will review it, we will critique it, we'll, I'll give my thoughts, just like how I normally do. But that being said, I think we're just gonna go straight into the film because I have no idea what I'm about to get into. I'm not sure, like, the Keeper of the Lighthouse is very vague. The title, very vague. A little bit. The Keeper of the Lighthouse. It sounds like a novel, like a title for a novel, but we'll get into it. Action screen. Here we go. All right, from fresh eyes. From fresh eyes. Let's go. Let's dive in. Team Phoenix. Silent film and detective film. Okay. Sorry, that was me. That was the line that they were given. I remember it because there was like 50 odd teams that had it. I do remember this film now. I do remember this film. I think I did stop watching it after the first minute. Either that or I wasn't paying attention. is like storage of film school. Hmm. Fucking Crocs. Hmm. Um. Before I critique and give a response, I just some of the text at the end was flying through it. So I'm just gonna quickly just pause and read some of the stuff at the end. Yeah. Original score by is it Cecily? Shot on the Sony A. I was gonna say because like yeah, it's obviously on a gimbal, the camera, and just judging by some of the the mathematical equations of the area, there wasn't that much room to play with in terms of moving the camera around. Yeah, the Sony A7 Mark IV. It's not a bad camera. I'll tell you what, it's not a bad camera. And the Weebill 3. Filmed on location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. Every time I think of Pennsylvania, it's the Pennsylvania polka. Like, I can never get that out of my head. Every time I see Pennsylvania, man. Edited with Resolve, which that's what I use as well. On the on the Apple iPad Pro, you edited on the fucking iPad. Fuck. Damn. Okay. Yeah, I definitely. The first time I watched this, I believe I did stop watching it. Around about the first. I think I stopped it around the first minute, and then I remember skipping through like this, and I remember just seeing the frames. My first thoughts were, I'm gonna have to drop this from 4K. Actually, I have to do 1080. For some reason, it's like very slow loading. The first thing I thought was, fuck. Silent film and detective film. I admire the fact that they didn't go for a traditional silent film and detective film, because there were a lot of those back then. Or like film noir, right? Like, cause like both of these could technically fold into film noir. But they chose to film in the present, like to display the film in the present time. Keeper of the Lighthouse. So, with a few camera shots, and then we lead into this one long tracking shot. One extremely long tracking shot. And I gotta say, the parts that I'm like, they must have rehearsed this quite a lot. They must have went through the camera operator would have went through, go, oh, I see myself in the reflection in the mirror. Oh, I can't go here. I can't go there. I have to wait for this to. I've done so many of these shots before, personally. I've done so many tracking shots that last for like well over 5 minutes for feature films, for short films and stuff like that. So I know how much time it takes to do shots like this, and hoping that the actors don't forget their lines or don't fumble because of reset. Oh, it's devastating. It's absolutely fucking devastating. If it looks like it is filmed in a film school or a film studio. Because the thing I'm just questioning too. So let's talk about the story first. We'll talk about the story first. I always tend to forget about these things. In the previous videos. Freshly exhumed without permission. So there's a grave robber. A grave robber has stolen something, and this item has some form of toxic effect on when it comes into contact with skin, and it has murdered the suspect. Well, it has killed the suspect. The suspect moves his hand. So he's like, sort of like the suspect's still alive, wearing Crocs. Surviving that is a mission already. But like, you can see like the toxic, it's that paint, that substance is meant to just represent the toxicity. So I'm not sure, but wouldn't the detective get poisoned? Then he checks his pulse and he's dead. He's finally passed out. He's or unconscious. The nice Dead Brody prop too, by the way. Looks pretty cool. Okay, so a very basic story. I'm just trying to think, man. In terms of, it is definitely a silent film. Definitely a silent film because it's using a lot of music to portray emotion and to signal the audience when there are changes in character, scene, motivation, and stuff like that. It's such a hard. It is like, silent film is so difficult to achieve because the definitions of silent film has sort of gone, like, you don't have to go the old style of just relying on music or composed music. I still think today silent film can just literally be atmospheric sound. Like, because if I was to search up the definition right now, because I remember searching up this definition myself, just to prepare, just in case if I got it. So definition, silent film. So silent film is a movie without any synchronized sound or spoken dialogue. So, but that's also referring to the late 1800s and 1930s, right? Silent films were unique and foundational part of cinematic history. They developed a visual language and style of presentation. Silent film relied on visual cues such as action, expression, and title cards, and to convey the story. They're often accompanied by live music and played by a single musician or full orchestra. Like, that is the old style. But for me, because that little comment there specifically, which sort of makes you question the definitions of silent film these days, I'm talking about today, is synchronized sound. So things like sound effects, things like footsteps and atmosphere and stuff like that. Technically, that wouldn't be allowed for a silent film. That wouldn't class as a silent film. But I sort of wish it changed. That definition. Like, I sort of wish there was two definitions of it. I sort of wish that silent film 1930s and prior is that style that we all know and think of, like the title cards and music and no voice acting and stuff like that. But I remember back in film school, so the reason why I admire this film and I do think it's brave to go with what they did, like, and actually attempt it too, because it's fucking difficult. Back in film school, we had Super 8 cameras and 16mm, and we were challenged. So the first half of the year, we had to make a silent film. We had to make 2 silent films in Super 8, then 2 Super 16 films. But with the 16mm films, we were allowed to use audio, record audio and dialogue and stuff like that. With Super 8 though, we were challenged to make a silent film, and that was rough. It had to purely rely on expressions, over the top expressions. So when I go back to the acting, it is portrayed in. If this was on a large dolly, that would have been sick, but like, who leaves their key outside? That's the first thing I was wondering, like, who the fuck left the key out there? Because everything's so bright, See, this is the thing that kills me a little bit, man. Like, because everything's so bright, everything's like, and because of the long take that they attempted, like it was necessary for that to keep everything exposed, exposed correctly, and stuff like that. Nice dodging of the mirrors, but that mirror in the background is actually angled in a way, so you shouldn't be able to see the camera person, including the reflections on the laptop. But I'm gonna say it's a really good attempt. It's a really good it's a good attempt at silent and detective. But if I was them, I would have stuck with a traditional silent film detective, because there are so many things, and you could have actually used these locations, the studio, the film studio, everything like that. I think, like, I'm just trying to think like how and what you guys could have done to make this type of story better. Ah, what a tough one. I'm just happy that they attempted it. I'm happy that they attempted both at the same time as well. Because they could have just gone straight up detective film, and they could have just done a detective film and have dialogue and have like other locations and stuff like that. But I think it was a very brave attempt to merge both together, uh, and experiment with something. Yeah, like with the long tracking shot. For me, I think the acting was oops, sorry, that was a little bit loud in my ear. I think what falls flat, a lot of it, is I want to see more of the facial expressions. Um, and the reason why we're not able to get that is because of the choice of shot, which is the tracking shot. If this was cut up into multiple different shots, um, you would have been able to get all those expressions uh, to help convey the story. Is and if you know, so that being said, that means this whole one shot sequence would have had to been scrapped. So like I'm on the fence with it, because I love long sequence, like shots and stuff like that, like very long takes, allowing the actors to engage in their environment around them and allowing them to act, like to actually act in the scene. Because sometimes some actors literally hit their stride halfway through a shot, like after 2 minutes, like they're actually in it and then they don't break, instead of going like 30 seconds at a time, a minute at a time. So because theater actors have to do that, right? They're on stage, they're doing scenes for like 5 to sometimes 10 minutes at a time, right? And sometimes it's very engaging. But yeah, I would say the only thing I can say about this film is that it's a good attempt. I probably would have broken the rules myself for silent film. I would have relied on synchronized sound and sound effects, the sound of his footsteps, and I would have had just no dialogue, still no dialogue, but I would have done it with hearing the breathing and using the actors breathing as a beat to the film, like, and then the breathing gets deeper, or it can get more fast paced. Like that's the thing. Like that's why I think the genre silent film should be defined between two eras. Like, because there have been films that are silent films that are made today, um, that have synchronized sound, and that's why I think in the future, I think the terminology for that needs to change, especially for this type of competition, because then it will allow people that do get silent film to like to choose. Do they want to do like a 1930s and prior style, or do they want to go and just do nothing but like, it's just no dialogue, just no dialogue whatsoever. Um, Yeah, yeah. But other than that, really good attempt. Like really good attempt. I honor the courage to do long takes and stuff like that. But yeah, um, location needed to change. The location, I'm not digging the location. I'm not gonna lie. The location is just off. There are some bits and pieces of like this elevator shaft is great. I love the elevator shaft. The look of it. I'm trying to think of like what else did I like the look of. Damn, it's just all the film equipment just sitting there because it does look like a film studio. Well, it is a film studio. What was it like an actual a cutter? Is it? We have a cutter in the background. Um, I would have used the film studio to my advantage. I would have set up so many lights in the film studio as if they were filming instead of like a lighthouse keeper. It could have been like a host of a show called the Keeper of the Lighthouse, and it could have been like a mad, psychotic like producer or like I'm just spitballing here, like a producer or an actor who has dug up this old dude's grave, brought it out, plonked it on his chair, and is televising it to the whole world, right? Some psychotic shit. So and this detective is trying to find out where they're broadcasting from. And then what he starts to notice, I think the main character should have started getting sick over time because the lighthouse artifact thing should have been in the grave. There should have been remnants of it. He would have touched it there at the very beginning of the film. So what you've done is created like a femme fatale without the femme. So you've already started the demise of the main character, like in a film noir style. That would have never changed, and then he's slowly getting sick over time as the time goes on, as he is investigating. Finally gets to the room, and the person is literally filming. So that would have given you so much opportunities to set up so many lights, and it wouldn't matter if they were in frame because it's a film studio. And then you get to the studio, and the guys, I still would have used title cards. I would have used title cards like when, like 1930s style, 1920s, 1910s. Get the actor to just visually see the anger and fucking the evilness in the antagonist's expressions. Cut to the protagonist and and show the sickly nature. He's starting, like, over time him getting sick, but he's trying to stop this person from using this artifact or fucking with it. And I think that's the story that I would have went to. I think that's the way that I would have adapted this story, because I'm trying not to stray away from your vision entirely, but I think I would have approached it. If I had this script, I would have approached it. I would have changed it. I would have like remodeled it to fit a silent film / detective, and I would have done it a little bit old school. I would have utilized the location to its advantage and set up so many lights. I would have set up and just create some interesting contrasty light spots, dark spots, entering through darkness, coming out of darkness, bright lights here and there. And you can make it a little bit horror, whereas some of the lights turn off, or some of them get turned on, as if it's like a mind game, right? And I think that's what I would have done, and that I believe would have been much more interesting. That's something to think about for the future, yeah, guys. T.R. Wilkinson. That's something to think about in the future. No matter what the location is, you have to use the strength of the location. Like, I don't mind you guys filming on DSLRs or anything like that to achieve what you need to achieve, the certain style you need to achieve. But really think about the location that you have and just utilize nothing but the strengths of the location. Utilize nothing but the strength of the actors. There was a vision there that you had. There was an idea there that you had. It landed a little bit soft, It was a good attempt, but I think with just a little bit more thought, the story that I just blabbered out, I think would have been quite more memorable, especially if it was in black and white. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say about this one. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and how you would have actually went about silent film and detective together. Yeah, because like it's good to have these type of discussions. Yeah. Alright guys, that's it for today, and I'll catch you tomorrow for the next video. Bye bye.